a gentleman out here recording and taking pictures of our
Yeah, I just asked him if he was. You want
But he is a professional photographer because
You
he makes
think-
money off his photography.
Is he on the street, in the yard?
Yep, in the yard. He's walking around.
Is he
Recording
taking
everything.
pictures or filming?
Looks like he's filming.
Hello?
Yes, is this Mr. Bloom?
Yes, it is.
Yes, Mr. Bloom. My name is. I'm the attorney for Towns County.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir. I have been working with Vicki about responding to your open records request, and so I'm just trying to see if we can get it worked out so you can get what you're asking for.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So, first off, let me just make sure. So, I had, someone had forwarded to me this statement that you had made about that she was incriminating herself and all kinds of stuff like that.
Real quick, guys, we're going to cover this title because it's very specific to my claim that Vicki on the phone basically did not want to or did not know how to fulfill my open records request. Either way, it was a no. So let's talk about 50-18-74, penalty for violations, procedure for commencement of prosecution. Any person or entity knowing and willfully violating the provisions of this article by failing or refusing to provide access to records not subject to exemptions from this article. And I'm not talking about swinging by and looking at it either. We're going to talk more about that later in the video. By knowingly and willfully failing or refusing to provide access to such records within the time limit set forth in this article, or by knowingly and willingly frustrating or attempting to frustrate the access to records. That's exactly what I'm dealing with right now, by the way. Intentionally making records difficult to obtain or review shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction shall be punished by a fine not to exceed $1,000 for the first violation. So that's the law. Okay, this is the Open Records Law. You can download the Open Records Law here at the Attorney General's Office webpage, and it's right here. It just opens right up. It's a pretty big PDF file. I cover a lot of this stuff in my videos, but feel free to go and check that out and download a copy of it and keep it for yourself. Put it on your phone. So let's get back to the video.
And the interior footage of the office, it is on a 25-day loop cycle. It has no sound. It's just, and it's on our evidence room door. And you're more than welcome to come by here and look at it because it's on a hard drive.
Right.
So if you want, it doesn't, it's not where we can, make a tape of it, but you can come here. You're more than welcome to, run by here and give it a look over.
And you were quoting some laws. First off, you're conflating the Federal Information Act with I think it's the Open Information Act and the Georgia law. Okay, you're quoting Georgia law, but then you're quoting the federal. Okay, and there's different standards and different rules for that. Okay, so all I'm trying to do is just trying to get to what you need. And you had made an oral request. She made an oral response to you, but I think it should all be in writing. That way everybody knows what you asked for and knows what she sends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes plenty of sense. In fact, if you watch my last video, you'll find that the email address on their webpage is no good. Looky here. They're still using the same email address that don't work, by the way. It is July 26th at 4:28 p.m. That email address does not work. Still, that shows you how bad they want to field requests, or how much they want to field requests. It's still blocked here.
Okay.
And there is no way to write into that sheriff's department. The only way you can do a request with them is over the phone or in person.
Well, that's not true. They have email addresses.
Where?
Should be on their website. I don't know about this one about the open records request email.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah,
okay,
I got you.
But let me do this. Let me simplify this. Okay.
Great.
Send it to me. Okay.
Okay.
and then that way I'll see that it gets to the proper parties. Okay.
Gotcha. Now, what is your email address?
FIRM.com.
Okay, all right. And you work for the county?
Yes, I'm the attorney for the county.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thanks,
Okay.
Rob. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, so like I was saying, man, it's I would just put in a simple request. I'll email this to you later because there's some additional stuff, but there is no email address on their website. I guess they removed it. They just put the email address up just a few days ago, and that's not correct. It keeps coming back, even though I changed it to .gov, .com, and .org. Anyway, that's not your problem, boss. But I'm just saying there's no way you can go on their Facebook. You can't message them. You can't leave comments. There's no way only way to contact them is through that phone number, and I called her initially from the get-go, Vicky. The first thing I did was call her, and she directed me to the website, which I'd already been on, and she directed me to the link to the open records link for the email. And of course, like I said, none of that works. It seems like there's a lot of roadblocks to prevent FOIA requests from happening. I shouldn't even be talking to you about getting open records requests because now it's done gotten too difficult. It's frustrating at this point to have to go through all these different people just to get, compliance on the Open Records Act.
Okay,
And,
I understand, but now you said FOIA again. You're conflating the federal and the state. Okay?
Yeah, there's two. There's the Freedom of Information Act and there's the Open Records Act. The Open Records Act is a state law, is a state act. The Open Records Act is a federal document. It's a federal law that oversees and supersedes any federal law supersedes any state law or state act. So I definitely refer to both of them because when it comes to public and elected officials, it'll be a federal thing. It's not really so much a state thing, but what I have to do is basically, Rob, all I'm doing is following the process. I'm not trying to cause anybody any problems. I'm just trying to get access to information, which has been very difficult up to this point, which in itself is an open records violation. That's the incriminating part. And in speaking of that, because since you brought that up, she said that the footage from the camera is on a hard drive. So is all the police body cam and dash cam ends up on hard drives. And she said there's no way to get that onto tape or anything else. That's not true. That's not the law. That it's not.
No. Okay, all right. You sound versed in the law, but then again, you're continuing to conflate things. Let me say this: under Open Records Act, okay, of the state of Georgia, which is what you cited in your the Open Records Act says that you are allowed to view and inspect, or copies can be made, and really the government just has to give you, access to the record. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, what she was saying was, and I've talked to Vicky, there's not a tape that exists that she can copy and send to you. She has to create this tape. Does that make sense? From the evidence room. And what I understand is so, and the law is very clear. A government doesn't have to create something to respond to an open record because, people will
if
say
it doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't. So
that footage definitely exists, sir. The whole phone call is in the video.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
The entire phone call that I had with her.
I know, but what did you say exists that she said didn't exist?
If the record does not exist, it cannot be created. That's the law that you're referring to.
No.
But the record definitely exists. There is definitely camera footage on the camera.
Excuse me. What record exists that you say that she said didn't exist?
She said, back into the phone call, she said that the security camera over the property room is on a 24-hour loop.
That's correct.
It's recorded to a hard drive that can't be taken from the hard drive and put on whatever kind of media. That was her statement, not mine, sir. I didn't make that up.
No. She said that there doesn't exist a tape
because it's on a hard drive.
Right.
So if you want, it doesn't. It's not where we can, make a tape of it.
of that. Okay. There's no tape of that.
So there's no tape of it.
Right. So you're welcome to view from the hard drive because that's what exists.
Okay.
The hard drive exists.
I got you.
Now, I mean, I guess
I understand the point you're trying to make right now. I truly do.
Right. Okay. And so, and here's one of the concerns that I have, and I'll just be very candid. See, that is a record of the evidence room, which, you know, they're making sure that the right people bring in evidence and don't remove evidence. That's the purpose of it.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I understand.
Now, there are open cases with the sheriff's office right now, and if you'll study the law, it says that they don't have to disclose records of existing and open cases. Well, some of that evidence is. So the point I'm coming to is that to create that for just general public to see who's doing, you know, who's bringing in evidence for different things, we have no problem with you seeing it and seeing if that, I don't know if the sheriff's on that or not. I don't know if the sheriff goes to the evidence room. Okay. So.
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I don't really care about that part. But she didn't explain any of those things. She didn't articulate any of the things that you're articulating right now.
Okay.
She just said she couldn't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, it's a matter of words. I mean, so here's the thing. If you'll send the records request to me now, and I'm going to help you. Okay. I'm going to help you get this straight. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I really do.
Because I don't, you know, I mean, there's, I know everybody thinks that, oh, there's these little old, you know, there's no intent to hold back or anything like that here. It's just trying to get right what needs to be right.
That's, you know, and that's, Rob, that's the problem I'm having, is that she didn't explain any of these things to me. She wasn't trying to make anything right. You can listen to the phone call over and over again, and you'll come to the same conclusion that the answer was no all the way through.
It's not no, it's just, but you got to understand what you're asking for. Okay. You asked for the city credit card.
I asked for, the city credit card bill. That I have found that is handled through the town hall or city hall, which I'm getting around to calling them today.
Okay, you're welcome to do it, but it won't do you any good because you got to think about what you're asking.
Right. Okay.
You asked for the city credit card.
City, county credit card, flex card, officer card.
Whoa! Now you're holding people to what they said, so.
So I need to be specific. Then that's what you're saying.
Card. Huh?
So like you said, it's a play on words, I guess. So I need to be specific.
No. It's not a play on words. That's why these things need to be in writing so we can get them right.
Okay, gotcha.
You're asking for the city credit card. We don't have the city credit card because we're not the city.
Right. You're the county.
We're the county.
Yep.
Okay.
That's my mistake. I don't get that deck. I don't get that media. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Because I misspoke, I won't make that mistake again.
But here's the thing is, I don't mind if you get what you asked for. Just ask for what we have.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's all I'm trying to do. Is there's no attempt to try and get around you or anything. I promise you that. It's just we can only respond to what you asked for. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. All right. So if you ask for what we have, we will be glad to provide it. But we you know, when you said go to the town hall or to the town council, you can get their credit card, but that's still not going to have anything to do with the sheriff.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm just what I'm trying to do, Rob, is work my way to the expense account or credit card or county card or whatever it is, whatever means the police use, financial asset the police use to purchase fuel, you know, and things like that. To reimburse themselves, however they do that. That's really all I'm trying to get down to, is that account, that bill, and what it's used for, how it's being used, specifically by police officers, by county officials that work for the sheriff's department, things like. But I'll detail that out in my email. I understand now that my email was very vague, and I wasn't specific enough. But I'm going to get better at that, Rob. I promise you.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, but I'm just trying to make sure that we give you what you asked for. But because you know, I didn't even have to bring up the fact it's the city card because her response was, "We don't have the city card." Well, she was correct. Yes, perfectly legal response. But I'm not going to do that and make it look like we're trying to hold something because we're not. Okay. Now you asked for the personnel file with the sheriff. Okay.
Correct.
She
Ken
said
Henderson.
There's no personnel file or disciplinary file of the sheriff or the sheriff's office because you asked for it from the sheriff's office. Okay?
Right. Yes, sir.
That is 100% true. Okay.
Okay.
However, the financial side is managed by the commission office. Okay.
Gotcha.
There is a personnel file in the commissioner's office because for him to be paid, for him to receive a check, we have to have that information for his insurance, things like that.
Yes, sir.
So the commissioner has a personnel file. Okay. So if you will submit it in writing to me, I will see that the correct files get to you.
Fantastic, man. That's all I want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but
they have to explain that stuff on the phone, though. When I call them, they really do have to articulate. They have to mediate what I'm requesting and say, no, you're incorrect, sir. I deal with internal affairs from all police departments here in my own town, and he's that way. He tells me, he says, listen, man, if you want this, you have to go to the city engineering department. He's very specific, and we talk all the time, and he's a really super nice guy, and he definitely wants me to get the information, but my request just went nowhere on that phone call. Not only that, the email doesn't work. The Facebook messages is gone. You can't contact anyone at the Sheriff's Department rather than phone calls. And even the phone number, it seems like a really tangled up mess. And all I should have to do is what I do with everyone else. I've done this a lot. Is just go on the website, email the custodian of records, and get the media. But I'm having to go through way too much at this point to get anything from Towns County Sheriff's Department, that's my problem right now, Rob. I'm sure you can understand that.
I would. There's open records requests made every week to the Towns County Sheriff's Department, to the county commission, and they are responded to. I don't know why you seem, but the thing is, I'm reaching out to you, trying to assist you in getting what you're intending to get.
Oh yeah,
Does that make sense?
There's no doubt in my mind that you're trying to help me right now. None at all. Yeah. I mean, I really appreciate that. I just wish that they had mitigated some of this. That they had to mitigate it, me and you talking earlier on, by just simply explaining things to me and saying, hey, no, we can't provide you with that. This is why. And look, I'm not going to read the entire law dictionary to figure every single word out. I just made a simple request. I just want it simply fulfilled. Whatever the cost is, I don't have no problem. I know how that works too. But the fact that you're calling me now, there's a problem that exists. Because you wouldn't call me. I've never been contacted by a county attorney. And I've made a lot of open records requests in the state of Georgia with lots of different police agencies. As a matter of fact, you can watch all the videos on my YouTube channel from those interactions. But it's never gotten to the point where I had to speak to an attorney to get a simple request, in. All she had to say was, you need to contact the commissioner's office to get Mr. Henderson's personnel file. I would have been more than happy. That would have been great. That would have saved me a lot of time, and it would have prevented you and my tax dollars, because I actually have a real job in the state of Georgia that I work a 9 to 5, that my tax dollars wouldn't be wasted on someone like you calling me and wasting a whole bunch of time when it wasn't completely necessary at all. It was unnecessary. This whole phone call is unnecessary.
It is not terribly uncommon when open records requests are conflated or not clear something for me to contact the person and say, look, this is really what you're asking. Because see, Vicky or the sheriff's office and all is not supposed to enter into the legal advice of, okay, sir, you're asking for this or you're asking for that, you need to do this or that. They're not supposed to do that. You see, they're not supposed to interpret the Open Records Act and all. So that's why I'm doing it. Is I'm just, we're going to be open and honest. We're open and honest all the time on this stuff. We really are. And that's why I'm calling you.
I never said you wasn't. I never said anybody wasn't. I'm just saying there's roadblocks. That's all.
Well, I don't think there's roadblocks. I mean, but Mr. Bloom, I mean, you must be, if you're honest, you have to show that, if you go to your videos and to your comments and all, you're talking about, she's going to appear before a federal judge. She's violated the law. When you start making statements like that, and you start saying that to the public, and you start making accusations of slander per se. And
No, it's not slander, boss. None of that slander.
Well, it's slander when you say someone's committed a crime.
I didn't say anybody committed anything. I just said she incriminated herself by not willing to fulfill my request on the video.
When you said you go appear before a federal judge, the reason you'd appear before a federal judge is violation of the law.
That's incorrect, sir. That would happen in 1983 civil rights complaint, whether I choose whether we go through a state court or federal court.
So you're not familiar with the fact that violation of open records can rise to the occasion of a misdemeanor. You're not familiar with that.
I'm aware. $1,000 and $1,500 fine for each violation.
Okay. So the point I'm coming to is you're making accusations. I want to get away from the accusations and simply get you what you want. Okay. So if you'll send that to me, then I will make sure it gets to the proper parties to respond to you. Now, to understand, we have 3 days to respond. If we have the records available that can be responded to within 3 days, then you get those within 3 days. If they're not available within 3 days, then we respond to you telling you how long it will be and what the cost will be if we incur cost above the minimum amount.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, I'm completely aware of all that. Yeah, yes. But I do appreciate you reminding me.
Okay, all right. So if you can get that to me, then we can fulfill your request. Okay?
Sounds great, Mr. Rob. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you calling me. I really hate that it came to this, that to do the resources that are being used right now to deal with this is ridiculous. It really is. I don't know how much you make, and I don't really care, but I'm gonna find that out later on through a FOIA request or open records request. But I think it's ridiculous that the county is trying to leverage an attorney to fight off a little YouTuber. That's really crazy to me, and that's what this really is, Rob.
We're not leveraging anything to fight off anybody. I'm just trying to streamline the process, and you can find out that it's not uncommon for me to make responses when people make requests under Open Records Act and they say you're not giving me what I asked for. Then I to make sure we don't continue with all of this banter, then I can streamline the process, and that's not uncommon for me to do that.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yeah, I understand your part.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I appreciate you, Rob, first and foremost, because you called me and you took the time and you want to get this matter straight, and you have no idea how much that means to me. That's awesome, man. But, there has to be some training at that sheriff's office, man, with if you're going to be a custodian of open records. I mean, I can give you a good example. Mr. William McCarty at Richmond County Sheriff's Office. He's the Internal Affairs Sergeant. He is excellent, man. I don't share much of my interaction with him because he's always been professional. He's been straight up. He's like, listen, I can't give this to you because it's under investigation. You can try me back later. And sometimes, there's issues where I feel like I could have gotten a little more. But, at the end of the day, he is keeping it within our little group. It's like, this is what I got, this is what I don't have. Cool, man, thank you. I appreciate you, making the attempt. That's all I ever try to do. I'm not trying to make anybody look bad. If you do wrong, then that's on you, man. You make yourself look bad. If I'm not going to speculate, I don't do that in my videos. I just show what's there, and and what it is what it is. But a little openness in the sheriff's department will go a long way. Will probably save you a lot of headache, a whole lot of headache. The fact that you have to constantly get involved, because you just said that you from time to time get involved, means that there's issues there that shouldn't exist.
No, you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say I get involved with the sheriff's office. There have been times I've been involved with the sheriff's office open records.
Right.
Sometimes I get involved with the commissioner. I mean, people send things in that are conflated, and they go under federal law, under FOIA I'm asking for, and then rather than have a clerk of the commission or somebody explain the law to them, I call them up and go, hey, you're asking for this. Do you really want that? That's all I'm doing here is trying to. Yeah. And I have people say, well, I want you to send me the city budget. And then instead of a clerk explaining the law, I call them up or sometimes email them if it's a email request, and I'll say, hey, you're asking for us to send you a city budget. We don't have anything to do with the city. You need to go to the city, because when you start advising people as to the meaning of the law, it's not efficient for a clerk or someone to do that, because it's just better if I just take care of it.
Oh, well, I mean,
like that.
you can watch
And that's
video.
all good here.
If you ever watch Audit the Audit or Long Island Audit, any of those guys, everywhere they go, the clerks usually tell them where the documents they're looking for exist, which is usually in open records or anything like that. They say, oh, well, this you can find. Sean Reyes does it all the time. He asks for the city budget everywhere he goes. They tell him exactly where to go. Each person he deals with, they tell him where to go. So that's not legal advice. That's just being common and being courteous and giving people the proper direction so they don't get lost in the building and end up somewhere where they shouldn't be. If you're dealing with a physical visit or something like that, but over the phone it's a little more difficult. There's a lot more variables involved. There's a lot more people that seem to get involved, especially when you're dealing with that or email or anything like that.
Okay, well, like I said, I think we can get it. If you can just email your request to me, I'll make sure it gets to the correct people, and then we'll go from there. Okay?
All right, sounds good, Mr. Rob. I appreciate you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.